Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we have
Like,
very special guest, Brother Ahmed Sharkas is here with us. He's a hafiz. He's learnt many qiraat of the Quran. He's also studied at the University of Al-Azhar. He's, for 9 years, he's been gaining this wonderful Islamic knowledge. Not only that, he's also learnt many languages from English to Arabic to German. And he's got a plus 100 plus, almost 109 certificates in Islam. So, Brother Ahmed, welcome.
Habibi, yeah, welcome too. You got old, mashallah, yani your hair. I remember you. I thought I have seen you from 10 years. It wasn't like that, subhanallah.
Brother,
But you look better now, mashallah. You look more better.
brother, the age, with the challenges of life that come, we start to get old. But alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
But
Brother,
mashallah, look
it's
good.
so good to see you, brother. And brother, thank you so much for joining, and really keen to hear this journey of yours from, as I understand it, from you were initially of the mindset of the salafis and the wahabias, but you've moved on from that, and very keen to hear this journey of yours, brother. But before we jump into that, did you want to just give an introduction to yourself, brother? Just a little bit of background on yourself, and then we'll jump in.
Uh, all I can say, I already started from now, like almost close to be 20 years from starting. I mean, like I can say 17
Yes.
years. I started from this times and I was learning and I was so faithful to learning and I tried my best to get learn and get knowledge and get knowledge and get knowledge. And this one of the things what the Salafi was not like it, and it was crossing lines of the Salafi way or Wahabi way. They, yeah, you can say, warn you to starting to learning from the old books of Islam or classic ulama books and stuff like that. I tried my best and tried to see, but yes, I already after I can say when I worked there or I worked in Saudi Arabia, when I was there teaching and I was working there, I started to see the difference. I can say by my eyes, but yes, maybe I was hearing some things or stuff like that, but when I see the difference in by my own eyes from their land and their people and their teaching and stuff like that, I started, you can say, the old knowledge which was in my heart from the Al-Azhar and from the Ash'ari ways and from the another ways started to start up, to stand up. There is something wrong here.
And
That's what you teach.
And just before we jump into that, Brother Ahmed, just for our listeners that don't really know, how do you define what is your meaning of the salafi, the wahabia? What's your definition of that identity? How do you define that? Just for our listeners that may not know about it.
The definition of Wahhabi way, that way is, yani, belongs to their background. It was, I can say, it is like one of the groups of the fake things around. It can say, just is myth. I can say just that this is a myth. Starting from nowhere. Who started? Someone is named Abdul Wahab. That man was living in the desert. He comes up and he started to rebel on his teachers, on his sheikhs, and started to attack them. And they started to not accepting their teaching. And he was Hanbali, as he say, but he was starting to attack the Hanbalism way. He started to say
which year was that, Brother Ahmed? Do you know? Do you know
he was from 200 years ago, exactly. Okay. 200 years ago.
Okay. Sorry, continue.
That's yani he wasn't not so far. He was in this time. It was in this land, Saudi Arabia. It wasn't Saudi Arabia for sure. It was called Al-Hijaz or Balad Najd and Jeddah and stuff like that. Balad Najd, it is Riyadh now, right now. That place or that land, it was belongs to Al-Khilafah Al-Uthmaniyya, Ottoman Empire, and it was under the rules. It was Saud, that's Imam Saud, which is I can say he's the most grandfather or the great grandfather of the ruler king right now family. That's man. He was ruler normal.
That's a very interesting point. So you're saying that this Wahabia, which is you're saying has only been around for 200 years, they're claiming to be the Salaf, but their beliefs have only been around for 200 years, and they stem from Abdul Wahab. And you're saying that there is a direct connection between the current people of power there back to the actual Abdul Wahab. There is actually a lineage connection there.
Yes, exactly. He was one, I can say he was Talib Ilm. He was normal. but then he started to have view. That's
Right.
view. That's those people or his sheikhs is not correct. Yeah, there is wrongs about them. What's the wrongs? This is people. He say that this is people doing heresy. This is people doing Sufism way. This is people doing shirk things and stuff like that. He almost, we can say, as the resources of his knowledge in this time, he started to read for Ibn Taymiyyah and started to read Ibn al-Qayyim books. Those books, it not for everyone to read it, as I think. Already maybe some people when read about Ibn Taymiyyah will not 100% understand it as Ibn Taymiyyah wanted to be read it.
Wow.
Ibn
So
Taymiyyah had
his knowledge comes from Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn Qayyum, but maybe he hasn't fully understood that knowledge, or maybe that's not for everybody to read.
exactly.
Sure.
I can say this. He wasn't understand them as they wanted to be.
Sure. And we'll get further into that soon, Brother Ahmed. So you've come from a journey from the Wahabia identity, and what do you identify as now? What do you say is your identity now?
My identity now, I am Shafi'i school and aqeeda. That's what I believe in right now.
So
yes.
Shafi and aqeeda.
Shafi'i aqeeda also. Shafi'i aqeeda also, it can say يحفظ أشعري تفويض. That's what it be.
Sure.
أشعري تفويض, yes. I like to call myself Shafi'i for some reasons. Maybe I will tell you about it right now. One of these reasons, because the Salafi or Wahabi people, when they just call you Ash'ari, they try to stop or put their fingers in their ears to not hear you anymore. That's one of the games they're doing. But I can say, I allege thing, and this thing I already under I can say under the study, and already I made big channel in Islam in Arabic language right now, and even in English, but it's not so active as in Arabic right now. I'm trying to make at least 100 video to show up all the fakes, what the Wahabi way adding to Islam and stuff like that. Try to expose them everywhere and stuff like that. I can say the Ash'ari way, I can say this. I allege that they not adding anything from nowhere as they think. They think this is like a school. But I comes and say it is not a school. It is something like he just bring the text and the clues from the old 3rd century, the tabi'in and tabi'in and like that. He didn't bring anything new as the Salafi doing or allege about the Ash'ari way or Ash'ari Imam.
Sure. And so just so we understand that, the Wahhabiyya are saying that the Ash'ari brings something new, but really, as when you've studied it, you've understood that the Ash'ari school of thought, they haven't brought anything new. It is in alignment with the previous predecessors and the origins of the previous centuries, but they've just explained it out. They've just,
exactly
explained what the true meanings of that are. There's nothing new in that. And
there's nothing new.
Sure.
Exactly. I can say I can start it with how many? I have thousands of clues about this in Arabic language. Maybe I'll try to start things and try to explain or translation. For example, I can say Imam al-Tahawi, he was 310 died. He made al-Tahawiyya. He said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no directions, has no organs. That's one of the things what he said. This is from the 3rd century. Let this Imam Ahmed ibn Hanbal, he said Allah has no body, has no organs, his face is not has image as the image what you think, it is not image. He said like that. This is his comment about it. Allah said, Ahmed ibn Hanbal said,
what century was Imam Ahmed ibn Hanbal rahmatullah ta'ala?
He died in 200. Ahmed ibn Hanbal, he was say la kayfa wa la ma'na. When he talking about descriptions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said there is no meaning, la kayf, there is no how, there is no meaning. He said this. طبعا the Salafi way, they try to twisting their talk and stuff like that. Most people twist it in the books. This is also one of the things which we will come up to. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, he said this, la kayf wa la ma'na. Ahmad ibn Hanbal, he said, who speak about these things meanings, he doing heresy. He doing bid'ah. من تكلم في معناها ابتدع.
And just for our listeners, But Ahmed, I guess what we're talking about here is Allah subhanahu, and this is one of the core differences in the beliefs of the wahabia about believing whether or not if Allah subhanahu has a shape or has motion or can move. And our belief is that Allah subhanahu has no direction, has no movement, has no physical shape. And that's because that's one of the core differences. That's why you're discussing this, and you're bringing evidences all the way back, from the 3rd century, from Imam Shafi and then from Imam Tahawi, and yet the Salafi, which you said was only 200 years ago, way after that, they have different beliefs around that. And that's just for our listeners, just to clarify, that's what we're discussing here, and that's why we're discussing it.
Exactly.
Sorry, continue, brother.
Yes. Yeah. So if we want to put light on Abu Wahab, he started to get rebel about many things. First of all, that's he was his, I can say his focus. The first step, he was about the shirk and stuff like that. That's the thing is what he doing in this time. He was, started first of all, he made takfir. He called all his sheikhs kafir. He say, none of all my sheikhs in Arid place, Riyadh city, he said, no one of them knows what is meaning of La ilaha illallah and even knows what Islam is. That's he said by 12 words like that. And anyone he say that he knows Islam or he knows La ilaha illallah, he praises himself by things he don't have. And then he said, except what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or after what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant me from the knowledge. Something like that exactly in Arabic language, I translated. And then he started to look. The first one he attacked him was his brother. His brother was against him. He made a big book about him against him. His name is صواعق الإلهية في الرد على الوهابية. It's I can say attacking of God, goodness on the way a Wahhabi. The translating of this book. And this book, one of the book famous, he started to attack his brother. And he stopped him and he tell him, you are fake and you twisting the Islam and twisting the ways and the four schools against you and stuff like that. That's one of the things. He was doing takfir so easy. And he already campaigned or joined with Saud this. And he taught him that this is view. This is the people doing heresy, this is people doing takfir, that's kafir and stuff like that. We started to attack them.
Something's been going on for centuries. There's a certain way of Islam that's been happening for centuries, and only 200 years ago, this person, Abdul Wahab, comes along and starts to do takfir on all of that, information and knowledge and practices that have been going on for centuries before him. And not only, he's not just doing it on the people, he's doing it on his own teachers, takfir on that.
Exactly. He was tried somehow to taking some view from Ibn Taymiyyah, some views like that. Al-Mubtadi', if we can say teaching him or correcting him, if not, maybe we'll kill him. Something like that. Ibn Taymiyyah was under pressure many times, and he tried to, he was between Sufi's time and this time, and he has some issues with the best people, that people corpus. He have some issues with Graves, Ibn Taymiyyah, and that's the person, Abdul Wahab, he took this information. He bought it and he tried to have the same issue. I can say phobia about Graves.
Sure.
So even Ibn Taymiyyah, radiallahu anhu, he was saying or called. I respect Ibn Taymiyyah till now. I don't insult him. So, I know there is people doing he kafir and stuff like that, but I respect Ibn Taymiyyah. I say rahimahullah or radiallahu anhu as imam from Imams of Muslims. He doing many things not correct, but I got some knowledge that he is do tawbah before he died. Ibn write it by 100% correct. That's he is doing, or he died on tafweed way. He did tawbah before he died. Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani also put this in his books about it.
And I think we'll have, as we have these discussions, we're going to have lots of these discussions, and we'll have, directed discussions on Abdul Wahab, and then also Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Qayyum and Ibn Hajar. We'll have directed conversations just on those. I'd like to just, you said that you've got about, 100 plus videos that you're making, and lots of videos, just at a very high level. If you can just sort of discuss the different topics, and we'll start to sort of have different individual videos on each of those topics. But just for our listeners, what are the different topics, just so they can understand what are the different sort of beliefs of what's happening there, and then we'll start to go into those in other videos. But what are the different topics that you've gathered out of those hundreds of videos?
Very good. That books, it has many things to discuss about it. First of all, I wanted to say my memories in Saudi Arabia. That's one of the things. And then why should person not to be in Salafi way? I started this from, first of all, what was happening with me, what the people, this, how caution they have, how afraid they are from another many things about many Muslims. They afraid from everyone. They afraid from all the world. They hiding things and stuff like that. I can say first of all, or second book after I can say the presentation I spoke. The second video was a talk about how easy they say haram and how easy to make obligated in Islam, while it is not. I started to read from the book, all the book of one Imam Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali. What the Imam Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, he died 795, 9th century or the 800th century Hijri. Imam by 5 years. This Imam, he was writing in book of Jami' al-Ulum wal-Hikam. This was this book, one of the best book I ever read. He spoke about what the four schools speak about, stuff like that. He say the imams when have one differ كده between the opinions, he can say haram. Then if it haram, most of all people say haram, but most of the clues haram, but one imams they say not haram, he say halal, for example, then the imam he stopped to not say haram because he say I can't say haram now. This is like good differ right now. Even if 90% say haram and the 10% didn't say haram, he can't say haram then. خلاص, finish. He can't. He stop. Imam Malik. This is one of the things.
And those people. Just clarity on that one. So what we're talking about there is the first topic you said is why people should move away from the Salafi school, from the wahabia thinking. The second one you said is that the wahabia, they're very quick to say this is haram and this is mandatory. You must do this, and you're going to give clarity on later on when we make those videos. You're going to give clarity on why that should not be the way and how the classic scholars used to approach this. Sure. Continue.
Exactly. And also in this book, I started to say, when just I read that things in front of the ears of Wahabi, they started to attack it. While I tell him, look, you don't attack me. You attack Malik. You attack Shafi'i. You attack Abu Hanifa. You attack the Imams of Islam. You not attack me. He said, but you should not say this. You mean you want me to hide the knowledge like you do? He said, yes. Don't say this to people. Just hide it. So this is one of the things, they are enemy to Islam, enemy to Imams of Islam.
That's a massive point, brother Ahmed. That is a huge point, right? Because
exactly,
if someone's doing something, you want to see the different evidences, and if we are wrong on something, we want to see it and we want to correct ourselves, because ultimately the intention is to gain the pleasure of Allah subhanahu and the beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And yet these people, their intention, what you're saying is, but based on that, it seems like their intention is not about gaining knowledge and coming to the truth, but it's about they have a view and they want to push that view forward and hide anything that contradicts in their view. So it's not about, hey, let's get together and show us all the evidences of the right hadith and the sahih hadith and let's agree on the right opinion and let's solve our differences. It's not about that. It's about, we have this agenda, we're pushing this agenda forward. Anything that's against it, you hide that, you don't show it. Even if it's correct, don't show it, because this is an agenda that we have. It's not about getting qurb to Allah subhanahu anymore.
Exactly. And one of the things also, I put light on this video. This was, I can say, the reason of I did this video in this time, before I say, I was so sick in my heart. I got I don't know in English, like they made something like that to my heart to can fix it, something like that. So I was in really a bad situation in this time, and I felt like I'm dying. And even till now, I am under threat of doctor. This maybe I'm dying anytime. So when I got this warn. I said I must doing something for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to avoid or to warn the people from this way. To make these videos as soon as possible. Maybe I die tomorrow or something like that. To at least these things will be my warning to people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلْيُنذِرُوا قَوْمَهُمْ إِذَا رَجَعُوا لَهُمْ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَحْذَرُونَ. To warn the people if you get back to them, to get them, to make them be careful. So that's one of the things I have to do it at least, like that. So that's why I started. I was in hospital, and the thing is in my hand as I speak. This was one of the first video I did. Yeah, here in Germany.
So that's the driver, brother. That's what drove you to do this. You went through
exactly
this experience, and you learned all this, and then not only did you learn it for yourself, you then came to this, realization that you must share it to other people because of this, event that's happened to you in your life. So before you move on, you want to leave behind a legacy which shows the truth of who these wahabia are and what we should actually, how we should be living within our lives. That's beautiful, brother.
Exactly.
So just give me.
And also, you have to know that I have to sacrifice by many things to make these videos up. Why? For example, here in most of the people who have domination on all the messages, which in this career I can say most of them are salafi. I mean, those people or wahabi, these people are around here, around even in my message here. So that's mean if I made these videos and they will show it, and I'm sure they will show it. The people will, I mean, I will have attack, and I will lose this career anyway. I said this is not okay, is not a problem. خلاص, I will give up this career. It's not a big deal if I leave, but this important. That's why I did it.
Wow.
Before I was, exactly.
Yeah. So you're sacrificing a lot, right? You're putting your career a sacrifice. The local people where you're living, there's wahabia around there, and
Exactly.
Once they find out that what you're doing here, there'll be lots of challenges and lots of issues with that. But you're okay with that, because this is about just the importance of getting this out to people is, has a much bigger, deeper, I guess, purpose than our individual benefits.
Also, in that video, I was spotlight on one of the things. Those people, when you speak about some things, for example, if you say makruh, mustahab, wajib, mandub, fasid, salih, that thing is, I can say this is the steps what Islam have it, or what the fiqh or the four schools or usul al-fiqh have it. That's people, they say, what are you doing? What try to do? Just say the hadith, the Prophet Muhammad, textually. They literally people, and they just wanted these things like that. He said, one of my student in Saudi Arabia, he tell me, Sheikh Ahmed, when the Prophet Muhammad say something, the Sahabi will say, or the companion will say, that's the Prophet Muhammad, what does it mean now? Mustahab, wajib, mandub, stuff like that. Or what's the Prophet mean? That's, he wanna tell me that thing is you have pick it up things. That's not exist from the company of the Prophet. I said, you want right now by your talk this, like you say, all these books, I mean, the four schools books, all of it, and the asoul al-fiqh books, all of it are to hell go. It's not, that thing is fake things. I told them, you are stupid, you are ignorant, that's all. Because that's this, exactly the Sahaba was doing this. They was, knowing that thing is what the Prophet Muhammad mean. And I gave him example in this time, Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu warda, Ibn Umar, he was walking and he found someone have like a big tuff, or how to say dish or something like that, and he have dates with raisins. You know the raisins?
Raisins, okay, raisins, got you.
Raisins, yeah, exactly.
So he was mixing the dates with the raisins.
The Prophet said this, don't mix them.
Okay.
He said the Prophet Muhammad, stop people to mix them.
Yes.
Was two persons, one close to Ibn Umar, one a bit far. The one a bit far, he asked what Ibn Umar said, what the Prophet said. The one is here, he said, the Prophet said, Rasulullah forbid to mix it. Ibn Umar said, you lied. I didn't say forbidden. He tell him, what did you say? He said, I said, Naha Rasulullah. Naha Rasulullah. What is naha is like say don't just.
Don't.
It didn't not forbidden. يعني not forbid.
Yep.
Forbid is haram, but naha is like don't do it. This
Yep.
don't do it. يعني
Right.
that's what one of the problem in English translation exactly.
Yep.
Like there is something called naha, there is something called forbidden.
Yes. Beautiful. So,
In English,
that's a massive point, right? So we have a whole science called asoul fiqh that helps us understand what's halal, what's haram, what's mustahab, what's sunnah, what's, sunnah muqaddar, and all the different rulings based on, what has come in the hadith sharif. And
one add before
Yep.
I forget this.
Continue. Yep.
That's already in English. When the people translation, we have a problem here. And this text in Arabic, it should stuck in Arabic, doesn't change. If it changes, this is, I can say I have to not translation, that there will be explanations, many explanations to the text. It shouldn't just not be like textually from Arabic to English, that as a people doing, as a Salafi doing. I have, I have cousin in Saudi Arabia, in Australia. I met a lot of problems with him when he translated these things. For example, nums, they translate like pluck. It's not pluck, it is nums. It should stuck in nums because it has 5 meanings in Arabic language. It should like that. That's the same thing. Yani, I already made problem right now with you when I try to explanation exactly what the Arabic one of the things I
Wow. Yeah. And the example you gave is perfect, right? There's a word that means forbid, and there's another one that means don't. And if the Prophet has said forbid, then that may make that thing haram. But if the Prophet has said don't, that just maybe it's disliked. But it's not haram.
Exactly.
And there's different rulings. One is haram and you'll get a sin if you do it. The other one is just disliked, and you won't get a sin if you do it. It's just disliked.
Exactly.
So and that's why we have this science of asoul fiqh. But what you're saying is that when you spoke about this to the wahabia, they said, forget about that, just do the hadith. And then so if we did that, brother, how do you get the rulings without asoul fiqh? How will you get any rulings? How will you know what is haram, what is disliked, what is halal? How will you even get any rulings? How do they do that?
They have everything like in a blender. Everything يعني they don't know what they doing in Islam. You understand what I mean? This is like kids in front of books of university. They don't know how to treat with it. So they just say, let we doing anything, we just let show up. They don't know what they doing. And this is exactly they crashing Islam from inside. These books you have to learn from till to be university, not from
this is another topic we will discuss, brother. I think the topic for someone to become an alim, I know, in us, we go through a complete dars nizami, we call it. And in there, it starts off with Arabic grammar, and then, you go into asoul fiqh, and then you go into the science, within asoul fiqh, you learn about, getting the rulings from the, Quran, the hadith, ijma, qiyas, and then, you have a whole nother topic on the science of hadith, and then, tafsir of Quran, and so on. But there's all these different topics and areas that you must learn for you to be actually, become an alim. So it'd be interesting to have a topic on that. We'll have to make a separate video on that. That here's what, you have to learn to become an alim, but here's what the wahabia, what they're learning and what their schools are, and where's the gaps there, because it seems like they don't even learn the asoul fiqh part of it, and they're saying don't worry about it there. So that will be another topic. Tell us more, Brother Ahmed, about, from these hundreds of topics, we've spoken about some of them, but tell me some other key topics that you've found as key differences in your research.
About Wahhabi and the Salaf and the old books, for example, they try to select one of the opinions and they put it as an agenda, big agenda like that, in some of the different topics and stuff like that, and they try to show it up. And who will dare to not say the same things what they say, then indirectly he will be out of the Salafi. He will be, you can say, ashari, zhari, he said, dal, mudal, cursed, stuff like that. They started to attack this person and they started to avoid him away from their schools. They will not be friend with. They will just avoid him in the society. They will not let him mix with them. They will not let him teach. They will stop about him. Everyone to hear him. They stop their followers to follow him or to hear him. Even that's what happened even with me here. You understand what I mean? And here in German, they doing this too. They did it.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
So they have this agenda, and they have these fixed things that you can say. It sounds more like a cult than a religion, right? They have this fixed agenda, have these fixed things that you can say, and as soon as you step out of that just a little bit, as soon as you bring on a new evidence or opinion backed with evidence, they just don't want to listen to it. They just know that's not within our agenda. We don't want to listen to that, and then they'll start to attack you in different ways, start to label you different names and attack you in different ways.
Exactly. They try to control their followers' opinions, to not let them thinking, to not let them searching, to not let them hear you, to make them just under control, all their followers under control. Even يعني you can say, yeah man, my mother يعني died from Sunni. You already did the consultation to me, thanks. What happened? They even not comes to do consultation to me. Wallahi, they just let me like that. Subhanallah. But the Prophet Muhammad said, وأمرنا الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم أن نتتبع جنائزهم, to following the يعني is like the rules what the Prophet Muhammad like writes on you to do it for the rights of the Muslim different. That's the things. That's they just like that. Like 100% they not think you are Muslim already. Like you're out of Islam. They so this is Khawarij way. They are think that some kafir now. Exactly. That's what they're doing. And even I can tell you, I didn't call them to go to graves, for example, or I tell that's who graves that's for example is can control something or just to not say Sufi are kafir, then you are kafir. If من يكفر الكافر فهو كافر. If you didn't call the Muslims who not agree with them that's kafir, then you are kafir. Like that.
So for what a closed-minded point of view that doesn't even look to search the truth. It's just like it sounds like they've just got some agenda that they're trying to fulfill. And wow. Well, brother, we're coming to a close on this first video, and we're going to make lots and lots of more videos. Is there any message that you'd like to give our listeners? You know, just a high-level message so that they continue to listen to these videos, and then what benefit they'll get from these conversations.
First of all, that's when someone Muslim, يعني when someone be wahabi, yes, maybe he يعني it is depend on how it is. I made it in my video, like يعني I can say, I don't know, like sword comes like that in his face. It is depend on how deeply it goes to his head. If it goes a bit, for example, he could be easy to go out. If it goes deeply, then he would be like ISIS, or he will be a killer, or he will be a man Muslim who call all Muslim kafir and stuff like that. So it is depending on how deeply he are involved in. So and the 100%, I think of what belongs to what we learn. That's these people from Al-Khawarij will go into hell, like that. Even scholars of Islam, most of them they are the kafirs already. So we will not say this, but whatever it is, to can take someone to be out of this, you will see the world by different way. Your heart will be clean to everyone. You will feel that you are not mutakabbir anymore. You will not be proud anymore. You will be Muslim real, what the Prophet Muhammad wants you to be. You will be a good moral, and you will be quiet. You will think all people better than you. But these people think they better than all. That's how we was feeling when we was but right now I feel every Muslim is better than me. I don't feel even better than anyone. That's the thing. What you will kick it out of your heart. That's one of the things already. If you have this kibr, you will go to argue not the kibr ego in your heart. That will make you go to hell, or will make you to not go to paradise, as the Prophet Muhammad said. But when this you have pure heart, yeah, exactly.
Brother, but correct me if I'm wrong. You were quite strongly initially involved in the Wahabia school of thought. You were quite deeply in there. So how did you get out there? You were very deep there. You're saying someone who's not that deep, you can pull them out. but you were already very deep in there. So how did you get out there?
I remember first. I remember our debating. That's from long time ago, and it was like weeks. We have already did debate that was so strong debate in Facebook and stuff like that. I remember this. Uh, Even me, I wasn't think that's one day I'm going out of this and attack them like this way that I did. I already look. I 100% was believe that they are totally wrong with the usul al-fiqh and al-fiqh way. 100%. They not follow the four schools. They not even apply any of the usul al-fiqh. They just ignore it. Even if some of their sheikhs teaching it in internet or stuff like that, but in real life they don't apply it. They don't have it. They don't use it. Just kick it away like that. Uh, what after this? I was believe this 100%. I was when even with my colleagues there in Saudi Arabia when I was working with there, I was so strong in this يعني subjects fiqh for schools fiqh and usul al fiqh, and they even when have stronger questions they come to me. But I what I can say, I was believe that their fiqh are already like fiqh al hadith. This would they bring one hadith and they try to following it textually literally while they don't know nothing like that boom boom and they don't know what is they doing.
That's the
I was
you're
believe
talking
this.
about the wahabia, right? The wahabia did
Yeah, that's what happened. But look, I was believe that they are and I can say they are in a stray way in a fiqh and usul al fiqh. I was believe this from long time ago, long when I was even 22 or something like that.
That they are astray from usul al-fiqh. They didn't believe
Yeah,
in
stray and al fiqh 100%. Yeah, even this. But I was what make me join with them continued. That's al aqeeda. Later, after this long time, after long time, when I started to teach الطحاوية way, and that started to teach, at first I started to teach book of عقيدة وسطية ابن تيمية and the book of كتاب إبطال التأويل قاضي أبي يعلى. This book started to make me jumping and talk. I don't understand it in this time, and I tried to. There is something wrong. I involved it. After this, I started to teach الطحاوية. I started to make things and text from the old ages, the 3rd century. I started to wake up. What is going on here? And even I started to catch up things they removing from the book. They try to stray the people. The twisting of the books. This is one. I think need topic. Need 2 hours alone about it.
Just before that, brother. I just want to get our listeners.
Yeah, when I found بقى their عقيدة is stray, خلاص. I expose كده. I am out of this way like that. 100%. Yeah.
So initially you knew that they were not in the usul al-fiqh. That didn't bother you that much because you believe that their aqeeda is correct, and because and the most important part of a Muslim is our beliefs, our aqeeda. And so because you believe their aqeeda was correct, you stuck with them. But as you went into the books, you started to find that actually their aqeeda is not correct. And their aqeeda does not align with that of, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the initial few centuries and the scholars back then. And that's when you opened your heart and your mind. And that's when you said, okay, these guys are not correct. And then what you found was they're even hiding things, and they've got a certain agenda to actually, push forward a certain aqeeda and not look for the truth. And that's when you decided, okay, that's not what your intentions are. You've got a clean heart. You want the truth. You found it. And that's when you made a decision, a conscious decision to move on and become, who you are today.
Exactly.
Beautiful, Brother Ahmed. Brother Ahmed, thank you so much again for your time. It's been a wonderful chat, and I truly hope that we can continue these discussions. And I thank you for your time again. I think this will be very beneficial for our readers. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.